Welcome to A Course in Miracles. Good night to come, because we're going to hit A Course in Miracles Essential. It's arguable that we should do this every single meeting until you guys put up your hands and say, "No mas, we get it." This is the tool that A Course in Miracles gives us that I haven't seen in any other book. This is the tool that offers the release. This is the actual manifestation of the teaching. And it's so simple that we have to have thousands of pages to assure you and give you permission to do it.
It tells us exactly what to do.
Yeah, but it's too simple. It can't possibly work from our perspective. But it's what the book is about. It's the tool that the book offers. And so let us tonight look into what is forgiveness. What is forgiveness? Let's think about that for a little while. What does it mean to forgive? Before you answer that, what does it feel like when it's time to forgive? Try to get there a little bit. When do you need to forgive? What is happening in your mind when you need to forgive? If you choose not to forgive, what do you get? And now, if you choose to forgive, why would you possibly choose to forgive? What's that motivation? Now, A Course in Miracles says, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to salvation. A Course in Miracles says forgiveness leads to your atonement. But get personal now. When you would like to forgive, that moment, what's going on? Right there. And finally, you don't have to say this out loud, but ask this question of yourself honestly and just see where your gut is when I ask you, if you forgive, are you weak? Yeah, there are so many levels of experiencing this forgiveness or unforgiveness. So first off, let's just start out with what is a forgiveness to A Course in Miracles compared to the world? And can anybody want to teach that to the group?
Taking 100% responsibility for what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
For your from my perception.
Mm-hmm. John, I know you're beginning with Course in Miracles. Would you indulge us? What does forgiveness mean in the dictionary? You can pass. Anybody can pass. Whenever I ask a question, you can just that's fine.
Think more about it.
No, I know. Don't believe me. I understand.
It's like forgiving someone their sins.
They did something wrong, and then you're willing to say, "Okay, I'll let it go," but you're guilty.
Uh-huh.
That's all the ego play.
So
My favorite definition has been letting go of the belief that anything in the past could have been any different. So once you can say, well, that's everything in the universe led to all of those decisions, and you can just...
But even so something was wrong. You did something went wrong, even if it can't ever be changed. That's kind of an easy way to look at it. I like that. And it deserves punishment.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to punish you. I'm going to forgive you instead. What you did hurt, or it was irresponsible, you did wrong, bad, but I'm not going to punish you. You're guilty, but I will not punish you for it. Isn't that forgiveness? Is that forgiveness?
It's just nothing to do with the forgiveness and the
Oh, we're not there yet. Yeah, we're not there yet.
That's all right. We're doing the ego version.
Yeah, we'll do the ego version first.
Okay.
Oh, ego.
Yeah, sorry. I think I've already...
Ego definition.
Yeah, we'll start with the ego definition. Ego definition. We all know that one. We live it.
Yeah.
We grew up with it.
Mr. Webster.
And now, so much of the Course is taught by contrast. That's why some of these language is so strong. He talks about lipstick on a skeleton. Just so you get it. You die, and then the worms that eat your dead body, they die too. So you can visualize and see. So here's forgiveness is somebody did something wrong or bad.
In your definition of wrong or bad. Exactly.
In your definition of wrong or bad. That's a good point. Very good point. And because harm was done, they deserve
It's the guilt.
guilt. That's right. At very least
Dishing
guilt.
out guilt.
Yeah.
But what if they don't admit the guilt?
Yeah.
Can you
Or-
forgive them then?
Keep it the
It's not about that.
Now, isn't that frustrating? We'll stay with the world for a minute. We'll switch to the Course here in a second. Well, yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Correct, but yeah, I
The
understand.
ego wants that.
But this is really important.
What I perceive as that being bad or
What if they don't admit? Isn't that frustrating, Wendy?
oh, yeah.
When you know that they did it, and they know they did it,
The courts are full of it.
And
and the neighbors know
I'm just
that.
asking for what happens is if I think it's painful, if I think they did it, and then I want them to admit it,
Yep.
it's just wait. There's more. It's going to get so much more painful for me
Oh yeah,
if I want them
Yeah.
to admit it.
That's right.
Because defense,
Yeah.
fighting, escalation. Because this person's already feeling guilty.
because you lived through this.
Yeah, but you
It's
don't.
not real.
But just think how
Yeah.
it gets so much worse.
Yeah,
More and more pain
Yeah.
as you want more and more defending.
yeah.
Because
Now remember how it
You're not
starts.
feeling it.
Remember how it starts. You think that if they'll just admit their mistake and they're wrong and take responsibility,
Right.
you can breathe easy. And at least they admitted it, their guilt, and then maybe you know they won't do it again.
And
my ego feels so much better.
And your ego, it's not you.
My ego feels so much.
Yeah, you were
Feel
good.
justified in
That was
your
well said.
belief.
You're justified in your belief.
If
And
they
you get to be
admit it,
right.
then-
You get to be
then
right.
you were
Yeah.
right.
Yes. And you've done your duty to point out what they did is wrong, and you shouldn't do that. So there's a
I'm
little
right
bit
and they're guilty.
of revenge if they would just admit that they did it
Yeah.
and take a hit.
Or take that guilt.
It'd be a lot easier
Live
for
and
me to
suffer.
forgive somebody if they would admit that.
Yes. That is
No,
the truth.
Well, I'm hung up on something like that, just exactly like that right now. So
Good. Nap into it. Because you sure said that perfectly. It would sure be easier for me to forgive them if they just would be so pig-headed and try to avoid the blame and the responsibility. Then I'd be happy to work with them. I'll even help them. But until they admit their guilt, you know what? They deserve punishment that I'm just trying not to give them.
it eats you up internally thinking about it, though.
Not fair. Not fair. It's not right. Oh, yeah. 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 But because you're civilized and you're a good person and you think God might be watching, you decide, I'm going to forgive. Even though that SOB won't admit it and it's so obvious, I don't like carrying it. It's eating me up inside.
It's your own health.
It's your own health. So here we go from ready to attack up a notch. And we call it, even though they're guilty and they deserve punishment and they did harm to me and to who knows how many others, I will not punish them for this sin.
You never get.
No, it's not bad, right? It's a little better. It's a little better than attacking and fighting and, killing and things that we've...
Still in there.
Exactly. Something's
You're
being...
still feeling hurt because you still believe you did something wrong and you got hurt. And you believe that something outside of you could really hurt you.
How come somebody
it-
did something wrong?
And you're forcing it in your
You
mind.
feel guilty for it. This is all the ego stuff.
It's all the ego
It doesn't
stuff.
give you the relief. It doesn't
It's-
really give you the relief.
Yeah.
It just kind of band-aids it for a little
We've got to get everybody on the same page first before we have the miracle, which is a shift in perception to what this book is talking about.
For the truth.
Most of this book is describing what the ego is thinking, so it says, so you can get your, so it can give you the flip. A lot of it is.
It also says that forgiveness is the basic underlining culmination of what the damn book's all about.
Isn't that right?
Forgiveness.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So what is unforgiveness going to do for you? That's how we started meditation, right?
Yeah.
What if you don't forgive? What do you get?
Suffering.
Suffering,
Anger.
greed,
You
Uh-huh.
feel like,
Feel separated.
yeah, you suffer.
You suffer all the time.
Victimized. Yep. Heavy memories.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Living in the past, going round and round.
Cycle of fear.
Uh-huh. Cycle of fear. Mm-hmm. Expecting. Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, all of that just goes by the wayside,
Mm-hmm.
and coming back to my life and everything that's happened,
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Painful or not.
Mm-hmm.
It really comes down to my thinking, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It causes all that trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes a mess out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact, I have 100% responsibility
Mm-hmm.
for anything and everything that has ever happened in my life.
Uh-huh.
Period, including if I think somebody else did something and they ought not to be forgiven. I mean, that to me, that's not where I am. I just feel that it doesn't matter what it is, the magnitude of it, if it cost you $1 million or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's all our own responsibility. We called up the terms and conditions. The thoughts came pouring out. Okay, doesn't matter which way they go. they turn right around and come right back to the person that's had the experience. That's not complicated, is it?
Well said.
Very simple.
So
Well said.
Very simple.
We're giving ourselves
Only every
what we think
time,
we're
though.
giving the other
Huh?
person.
That only happens every time.
That only happens
That's every time. That's right.
We are really giving ourselves what we think we're giving the other person when we're angry with them or hurt with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're really hurting ourselves because we're experiencing those thoughts first.
Mm-hmm.
Who gets to experience that? We do. It's in our mind.
Yeah.
How long does that last? The unforgiving thoughts, where you remember the wrongs and the pains and the unfairnesses.
To hold on to the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Forever.
And you kind of have to manage that. And when you see them again, you got to say,
You're that.
Wow.
what you did.
And it maintains the illusion of separateness.
Yes. By cementing the identity of that person to their deed.
Right.
You're angry.
That is what makes sin unforgivable. Course in Miracles describes it this way. It says the ego sees a mistake that cannot be forgiven. It's so bad, you can't undo it. The harm is so permanent, you can't undo it. You can't fix it. That's a sin. Well, it should be, right? You do something that bad. So what comes of it is an identity. Now we have something real. We have some harm that is not unharmable, undoable. So that's really serious, and you're going to have to remember that one.
That's illusion.
Oh my God, is that heavy and dark? And that makes separation, you bet. Because you certainly don't want to be that. That's over there now. And you are a glowing light compared to that. That's right. That makes it. It makes the separation have to occur. Can't join.
It's darker.
It's darker. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's unforgiveness. And that's what a sin is. It's a mistake. It's a deed. It's unforgivable.
Making it so.
Remember we did mistake one night? The whole meditation was mistake. What is a mistake?
Identifying the dream as real. And then
Yeah, that would be a mistake.
Oh.
That'd be a mistake for sure. But real simple, dumb it down.
It's innocent.
Okay, innocent?
An innocent action.
Okay, what kind of action? A mistake.
Error.
An error. Yeah, innocent error.
That hurt someone or something.
Yeah, it might even hurt someone.
That was
Error.
perceived.
But not intended.
Yeah, not intended. Yeah, oops.
It was an honest mistake.
sometimes it is intended, but it's still a mistake because you're identifying with the dream and then basing your actions on an illusion.
Yes.
So ultimately, it is all a mistake. And
Yeah, and sometimes it's intentional, but you thought it would make you happy to take something that didn't belong to you, let's say. And the cost is higher than you thought. And you don't like these handcuffs.
Huh. That was a big mistake.
And you think
Prison.
jail time's going to be hard on you.
prison.
Yeah, it's not really going to work out like you hoped. I wish I didn't do it. I did it as fast as hard as I could, and I didn't care who got hurt. But I changed my mind. Your Honor, honestly, I changed my mind. Probably did. Probably did change his mind. Probably really did. By that point, oh God, if I could go back and not do that.
And ultimately, I think everyone comes to that place.
Uh-huh.
If it takes lifetimes,
Yes.
to come to that place of
Yes.
realizing.
I was thinking about people. I don't know if I read something or heard something about a man who, it was a song maybe about a man who'd been, I think it was an old southern country song about a man who killed someone and was in prison, and he had served 25 years in the same cell. And I'm thinking, why absurdly does that sometimes sound even more comforting than where I am now?
Yeah, sure. Yes. I understand that.
I was totally blown away by that thought that, oh my gosh, that at some point in time sounded even more comforting to me than the prison I was putting myself in.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the oneness that counts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the fact that you're separated. And
Right.
You cannot be joined
Yes.
with your brothers.
Feel, but it excludes love.
The prison cell seems so simple with the same walls, bed.
Right.
You know, you have your toilet, stainless steel with no lid, and it's cold in the wintertime, but it's mine.
Think whatever you want to think. You live in that
Uh-huh.
whole realm, and,
Oh, yes.
and you're still safe in that stuff.
Yes.
No matter what you think,
Yes.
you're still safe in that stuff physically.
Uh-huh.
But that's not really where your life is.
Yes. Yes. I like what you said. You just said you think what you want to think.
Yeah,
Now, that's true inside that brick
right.
box. It's also true sitting in that chair right now.
That's true.
It is the good news, and it's the bad news. Stuck in
That's kind of where I
there,
went with it too.
thinking,
Oh,
you're
really?
still stuck with your thoughts.
It's where your mind.
You are dogged by them, for your mind is.
Where your mind is.
This book calls itself a book on mind training.
Yeah, it is.
So you can have peace under any circumstance. In the cinder block box or in the Beverly Hills mansion box. You would have to choose peace because both of those have their challenges.
That's the real world.
Yes. Yes. Not the course's definition of real world. But it
No.
but yeah, that's how people live. Yes.
Peace is the real world.
Good. Good. Yes.
Not
yes.
that other. No, not the illusion.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
see, that's what the ego and
Yeah.
all that other stuff is.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the choice between the real world and the illusion.
Yes, yes. You don't live in the world. You
Right.
live in your mind.
Right. Exactly. That's
Our
right.
world is in our mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So there we have it. So we have this simple dictionary definition. Forgiveness is somebody did something wrong, and instead of punishing them, which would not be forgiveness, it would be execution. Instead of executing them, yeah, or incarceration.
Putting them in a cell.
Yeah.
Wow.
Instead of punishing them, no, we're going to bail. We're going to let them go. We're going to forgive them, and we're going to say, you did something terrible, and you're guilty, but I'm not going to punish you. I'm going to let you off. I am going to rise above this situation, and it's my deserts. Okay, it's my right to punish you because you harmed me, but because I am above it, I'm so good. I'm not going to punish you. Okay, and so A Course in Miracles looks at that and says, well, that's not really a very nice
It's not
forgiveness because it requires guilt.
You just dished out guilt, and they're going to dish guilt out back to you.
Yes.
You just don't have
Right. So the next time you make a
Righteousness.
mistake, they're going to dish that out too.
Yep, now,
Get
yeah.
that back.
Yes. So it's an attack, isn't it?
It's a,
You're wrong. You're wrong. You hurt me. You're unforgivable. And it's a sin. I'm not going to do it, but you deserve whatever's coming to you. That is not love,
it's
folks.
only through our
I didn't punch her. Hey, I didn't. She deserved. I could have taken her to court and sued her. I didn't do any of that.
Right.
I attacked her as hard as I could. That's what I did, and I just let her go. But I remember. I'll forgive, but I won't forget. Sanity, right? When something's gone wrong, is forgive. Okay, that's very holy. And you're not in church, but don't forget. She's capable of. Yeah, carry that. Okay.
Someone's kind of protecting, you're trying to still protect yourself.
You got. Yes, that's right. A little burden there. Constant burden.
protect the ego, and the ego has to be right.
Or the physical body, depending on.
Yeah,
We're
that's right.
forgetting that.
That's right.
We're
Yeah.
forgetting that we're only seeing what that person did through our own thoughts, our own perception, and it might be another way of looking at it, but we're only seeing it through our filter. We're forgetting that the whole world doesn't think that way.
Now.
I don't understand what I see.
That's right. I don't understand anything I see. Very good. Early workbook lesson.
That's where I am.
Yeah, it's great. Thing number 3.
Actually, I'm doing the review.
Excellent.
First reading.
Aren't those reviews precious?
They're absolutely
They're-
amazing.
They're the lesson plus.
there's
Yeah, a whole other message buried in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I have good days. I have good days.
Good. I'm glad. Isn't it rich to have that?
Yeah.
That guide
Yeah.
daily?
Yeah, I type it up and I put it
Nice.
right underneath my computer.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to keep the timing of everything.
Yes.
Because this is my priority now.
Yes.
But still, I still need to
Yes.
be in that world.
And if anybody's going to do that, your job or something, you want to do your lesson your day and take it where you go, I have the lessons cards on my website.
Yeah, I don't know where they went.
So there's little itty bitty cards in the entire lesson. And so they're like $23, and the entire workbook.
You have them.
I have them on the
I need
website.
to get some new ones.
Okay.
Because I don't know what happened to mine.
Go on the website. Go on the website. Order them.
Spiritualear.org.
I go there. I listen to them.
Oh, okay.
Great. Yeah. So they're
But I didn't
they're
look
there.
at the product.
Oh yeah. Go in there under Study Tools,
Okay.
ACIM Study Tools,
Okay.
and you'll see them in there. They're great little thing. Then you got it. You got the little lesson with you. Yeah. Now, okay. So now we got it. We got the ego's version of forgiveness, and it's kind of like an attack because it actually enforces guilt. It says you were wrong. Ah, all right. How loving is that? Not very loving. Okay. Now, how does A Course in Miracles define forgiveness? How's it different from that? This is for the senior people in the room. And I couldn't have done it my first 10 years. My first 10 years in this book, I couldn't have answered it. I swear, even though I read it. Isn't it amazing?
A change in perception or correcting the way you thought the situation, correcting what you thought you saw or
Yes.
what happened,
Yes.
and changing your perception about it
Nice. To what?
to
Because that's a miracle. That's certainly a miracle is where you change your perception about it. The change in perception is what we call a miracle. And why I like that you said that is that no true forgiveness happens without a miracle. The fake forgiveness happens. I try to forgive so that I will not punish you and see that you did nothing wrong really. And please help me forgive. That's trying to forgive means the miracle's missing. So what you said is absolutely the right track.
seeing the oneness with that person and this their spirit and not their ego.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Getting past their ego and just seeing them as another spirit. And
Yes. And we would through that filter, through that new set of rules about what they are, we'd have to redefine what they can do.
And we
to
can't
hurt you.
actualize it
you can't do
either.
anything.
Yeah, but I like where you are. I mean, stay with that vein and work that. Don't jump ahead, because that's where you want to be. With that shift, it's so much more important to stay at that level and do the healing. It's good. It's good. Karen?
Well, I'd be jumping ahead to saying that if you know that it's a dream and you're dreaming a dream and you're the creator of the dream and you're not a victim of the thing, it's just a projection from yourself.
Oti!
Hi,
Welcome.
Then you're forgiving
Rush with
your
love.
dream.
And so when you look at it, this is another one of the vectors. There are many vectors in A Course in Miracles. One of them is the dream, where we look at what seems to be real, and we see it having the qualities of a dream. Colors, names, sights, you can remember it, all that. But dreams are not real. So anything that you saw in your dream, don't react to it. Because it's a dream. Even though you saw that person take this object that's missing. I saw it in my dream, but you're not quite willing to go search their room for it. Because of that willingness to see it differently, in this case, see it as a dream, and having the qualities of a dream. Yeah. When you apply that set of rules to what you're seeing, now it's a little harder to punish Because, well, it's really a dream doesn't have effects. Okay. Yes? Yes. So how, when you say I'm going to forgive, from that, and the meditation was on forgiveness. What is forgiveness? In the world, to A Course in Miracles. So now, from that perspective, it's a dream. What does forgiveness mean? What's the word mean?
It means letting go. Letting go of judgment.
Why?
Because it's not real.
Remind me now what the ego says forgiveness is. And this is important because when we say forgive, the first thing comes to your mind is the ego's definition, folks.
Mm-hmm. That somebody sinned and you're punished. And they're responsible for their sin and they deserve a punishment.
Yeah. That they did something wrong. That's what the ego, the dictionary says. You did something wrong, but, and you're guilty, but, and I wish you'd say you're sorry, but I'm not going to punish you.
Or I'm just letting you know that
That's
I know
it.
what's wrong and that I'm doing it.
Anymore, right? I'm going to stop punishing you now. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're
But I'm
trying to
punishing you for 10 years.
And
so
you're
I'm
trying to
gonna
end
stop now.
separation. You're trying to stop seeing.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody is separate from each other.
Yes. Yes.
And that's part of the process of letting go of the separation.
How does it let go of the separation?
Because everything's one.
Yes.
And you're trying to see the oneness in them, in yourself. They're a mirror of yourself.
Now there's another set of rules, okay? We'll go for the dream. We talked about the dream, right? Now let's switch to another vector of A Course in Miracles, and spirituality in general. Okay? Forget the dream for a moment. Oneness. Oneness. It's all one. If it's all one, as the Buddhist koan says, a knife cannot cut itself.
Great.
Ain't that true?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So there's no worry here. It's all one. Indeed, this is a way to enlightenment. So is the dream. So is the idea of shifting one's mind. Absolutely. Oneness is a vector, and it's a new set of rules. It's a shift in perception that occurs. Whereby we can't have guilt, because guilt means piece A hit piece B, and piece B got hurt, and piece A is going, that's two. That's not one, that's two. So when we connect and we see the one, actually we have cause and effect no longer separate. We have intention. Now you see that my arm's connected to my body, and my brain's in the middle there somewhere, but it's intentional, and it's a dance. It's no longer two fighting, it's that they're dancing. Even though it looks like that. From the perspective of one, it's a dance, right? Before it was an attack, and there was victim and victimizer. Now from oneness, it's a dance. It's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
Now, from that set of rules, yes, from that set of rules, what is forgiveness? I'm picking on Karen because she's been in the course more than 5 years.
She already said it.
She got to say it again with this from this new set of rules.
She told us the shortcut.
What is it?
What she said is healing that separation. That was all a dream.
Yeah.
Returning back to
Joke.
the oneness. Right?
Because that's the whole thing, is we're trying to change our perception.
Yes.
So that we can wake up out of the dream.
Yes.
So forgiveness is the process of doing that.
It's a process of changing our perception.
So that we realize we're dreaming a dream
Mm-hmm.
and creating separation, but it's not, it's an illusion. We're just caught up in a
Yes.
guilt, and we're just projecting out our
Yes.
own guilt and making this
Yes.
whole story and all these separate
Yes.
stories, when it's really our own guilt that we're trying to punish ourselves.
So we're drunk in not oneness, we're drunk in separation?
Right.
Under the laws of separation, cause and effect are different,
Yes.
and you have a victim and a victimizer. Is that separation?
Perpetrator.
A perpetrator,
Villain.
a villain, and the loser that gets hurt, killed.
Yeah.
So I think we're trying to realize that we're doing it to ourselves, right?
Mhm.
That's like the step. The step we're trying to get to.
Mhm. In this
So we're doing
scenario,
it to ourselves instead of it always being separate people doing
Yes.
it. We're trying to, I think we're trying to get that we're doing it to ourselves.
uh-huh,
Right.
uh-huh.
And then
Yes.
if we can understand that we're doing it to ourselves, that's where we start.
Mhm. Okay, now that is, and thank you, you're illustrating beautifully. This is another vector of A Course in Miracles. When we say we're doing it to ourselves, we've again changed topics. Pretty amazing, huh? We've gone away from oneness now. When we say we're doing it to ourselves, now we're talking about the dreamer of the dream.
Yeah.
Okay? We do it to ourselves is a perspective of reconciling all the things that appear to be happening.
Fear.
It's quite a good thing to do because then you've got a way to understand and explain all the things that are so committed to. There is love. There's a reflection of love here, isn't there?
Yes.
Isn't there beauty in this world? Can't you see flowers and sunsets? Come on. You call that evil? You call that work of the devil? No, it's yeah. And then there is pain here. There's serious pain. And there's lost love. And how can you love God if you can make the flower and then make the tractor that crushes the flower the next day? Well, we're doing it to ourselves, see? This is when we look at, we're dreamers of a dream, and we've dreamed up the plus and the minus, and we alternate between the two. It's one way to look at it. Okay? It's a way to understand and reconcile that it isn't loving God that killed the flower, it's you. Oh, thank God, because I didn't want to meet God if he could crush it. Such a beautiful thing. So quickly. I only have a day to live. Right. Yeah? Okay? That's another type of awakening. There's several that you put on there. So, Wendy, what is A Course in Miracles forgiveness? Any of these scenarios?
Well, forgiving your thoughts that you made.
Ah.
Being willing to forgive your thoughts.
Aha.
That there's nothing out there to forgive.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing out there can harm you.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing to fear.
The only thing you're forgiving is the thought that you made that created this whole idea of this separation.
Very good. In all of those scenarios, the dream and the oneness, the dreamer of the dream, all of these, forgiveness would have us understand that each of them are experienced from the same place.
It's all in the mind.
In the mind. The mind. In our thoughts.
And it's just one mind.
Right?
And all of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's split.
Yeah.
Split.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work when we put the victim, the victimizer, out there. Because it'll just happen again tomorrow.
Yeah, and then you have to be fearful and hope it won't happen tomorrow. Then you're giving all your control and power out there, and that person doesn't do it, then you'll be happy, and if they do, then you won't.
Yep.
So then you're a real victim.
It's the
Trapped
obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
in fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're believing that you're vulnerable, and
Yes.
any moment they could do it again.
Which just gets us to Claudia's, where she began. She says, yeah, you gotta wake up your mind at the core of what's really happening. Spirit is different from material. That's a good place to be. Stay with that. Walk that path from there. Because then you have to start doing the math and doing the, what was it when we would figure out how the mathematical equation worked? You derive it. You start with that simple hunger to understand material versus spiritual. And then you can write your own book. And you will, in your mind. Then you'll find out that this is a good reference guide to that very thought. Very thought. So you start, because that thread is written through this book. And if that's where you are, you'll start to see it being spoken of. So are all the threads that Karen spoke about. Each of them. And when you're hungry for that, or like Wendy said, it's really in your own mind, regardless of the appearance on the outside, everything is experienced through your own mind with a flavor that hurts you perfectly. Or that you have the ability to stop doing. Nobody else can go in and stop it. You go pay a psychotherapist to try to find out, what do I keep doing that makes me so angry? Well, let's see, what do you keep doing that makes you so angry? And I'm going to help? Well, tell me about your mother. Let's see if she's a problem in your life. No, she seems okay. Oh my God, she's so loving. Let's talk about your work instead, because your mom says to me, an angel. How about your workplace? Maybe you've chosen the wrong career. Do you love what you're doing? So but Wendy's like, oh my God, all these different things outside, they all come through one door.
My filter.
Your filter. Right.
That's why she was saying, when you start realizing you're just hurting yourself, you start getting motivation to stop doing it.
Yes.
Because you realize you can't, it's only hurting you.
You find out. That's the place to make an adjustment.
And your thought's being projected anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a loving thought.
Where does the physical come into the dream piece?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can wrap my head around, my perception of somebody else doing something wrong. And I'm trying to think of the cases where somebody physically beat somebody.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So they're certainly not feeling like a dream, and it wasn't just in their head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can understand forgiving that person, particularly in the definition I started with, where that person couldn't help whatever the universe brought them to that moment.
They had to do that.
But
Good.
But it's still not. I don't get the. How do I make that into a dream?
Yeah, it's not a dream. It's actual. I mean, to
Bruises
me,
look real.
Right to you, of course. Good.
The broken arm looks
Stay
real.
with that. Stay with that until you see it differently. You stay with that's real. Because it is real until you get a whiff of spiritual air. And no use faking it until then. It's a rich experience when you do. A lot of people in these spiritual communities will just abandon what they really believe, and then it's called and they say, "Oh no, I'm just going to have a spiritual thought." And that spirit is real, spirit is acting, but they don't really believe it. And they're not behaving that way, and it doesn't bring them peace inside. This is a great travesty. It's terrible, and you could spend years doubting the spiritual words because they didn't work on the physical rules. So no problem. Just defining that when it comes to getting a bruise, now that's real. All this spiritual stuff is great, has its place, but when we're talking about bruises and blood and broken bones, I got to handle this. Okay. Of course, the miracle says there are no orders of difficulties in miracles. This is miracle principle number 1 on page 3. And it says none are bigger or smaller than others.
It says Hitler or hanging. But,
That's Marianne Williamson. Does a nuclear war or a hangnail are the same because each of them can take your peace. Yeah. Now we're getting to the heart of what you really want, which is peace. How do I choose peace?
And that's why doing the workbook is really good, because that helps you start seeing it as not real. I mean, if you take the steps, the daily workbook, it kind of takes you through the steps of starting to understand that you're dreaming a dream.
You actually
there really
experience
is
it.
nobody being abused.
You actually experience it
You're experiencing
during your personal physical issues.
Right, for the perception. Like,
Right?
I have a hard time recognizing a miracle has happened because I'm expecting my illusion to continue but it's shifting, but I'm still have that perception that this is good, this way of things going at work, so to speak, is going to continue, but it's really, I'm starting to see that that's not really happening, that the miracle is like, I have to shift to see the miracles happening.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
Well, what happens is you're willing to have these shifts, and then when you start to relax, the things the workbook will have you do, like, let's see, judgment,
Right,
attack,
Right,
and grievances.
right.
And now, just by that little willing to pause, the same things happen at work, but they don't hurt.
Well, also, the perception changed.
Mhm.
Like, someone I didn't trust
Mhm.
because of behaviors
Yes, yes,
is coming to me for assistance.
yes.
That's huge.
Well, because you stopped defending
Yeah, well, yeah.
a little bit.
I'm not
even.
analyzing that. I'm working my lessons and I'm doing my practice, and
Yes,
that's my focus. So I sometimes don't
yes.
actually get that shift is happening.
No, this is key. This is key because this is how Course in Miracles shows up working. People say, I don't quite know what I read or what lesson I had a shift on or what did it, but here I am 6 months later or 6 years later, and my life is better.
6 weeks.
I'm having more peace,
Wow.
even 6 weeks. And we talked about this briefly a couple weeks ago. You don't even recognize how your communication is changing. When you've just gone a little more peaceful, when you start to see that a person is yelling and screaming because they don't feel loved, versus they're yelling and screaming because they want to hurt you. That's what the ego says. But correct perception is, right thinking is, the only reason they're angry is because they think they're losing. And they think somehow yelling at you is going to make it better. Now they deserve compassion. Come on.
I'm sitting in peace. I'm
Yes.
not reacting. I'm sitting, and I think one of the things I'm saying is I'm comfortable in my own silence because I have to be silent.
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing that I need to be more silent.
Yes.
And even though my ego, even though my professional whatever brain is saying, oh no, you've got to respond to this, it kicks my butt if I open my mouth.
There we go.
Your marriage changes.
There we go.
Listening to the right voice, spirit.
Right,
Instead of
that's
ego.
it. That's it.
Uh-huh.
And I pray every day to hear that because that's what I really pray for every day.
And I hear your faith. I feel your faith in the truth is really strong because you're really trusting it.
And you're witnessing the disaster when the ego speaks.
Right.
Ego has a plan.
Immediately.
There we
You can
go.
almost sense how the suffering would be if you did say what the ego jumped and pushed you to say.
It's like Wendy said, there must be a better way.
I already could taste how the pain would be before I get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There must be a better way.
Yeah.
I know the old ways of yelling and getting my revenge and
Well, for me, it's the victimization. It's the pain. It's like, how could you say that? It's the disbelief in what's really happening. And instead of seeing the disbelief, it's actually hearing the pain of that person.
Yes, what a shift. That's a miracle.
That's huge.
How different is that from thinking they are so cruel I can't even believe it to, wow, that's pain. If I were to yell like that and swear at work, how much pain would I have to be in? Pretty bad.
It's a metaphor, I guess, that man walking in the woods and came upon a dog, and the dog was growling and yelling at him, and until he realized that the dog had his foot caught in a trap, and then had complete compassion instead of just thinking it was a
Yeah. The dog is still snarling. It's still making all that noise,
That's good.
but it's for a whole different perspective.
And
They don't even know it.
that's such a great
There's no
example
consciousness.
because when we're having a hard time forgiving somebody, you're seeing it from that other perspective. That just growling, the thing's going to attack you, might even kill you.
Now you want to help. You just walk away from that?
It's the same thing happening.
I love that.
But there's something, I love that.
You
There's
can-
something
yeah.
outside of your perception, outside of that box the way you filter and see things that's happening, and you're willing to consider that there might be another way of seeing it.
It's a corrected perception. That's good. You see the trap, shifts everything.
That's great.
Perfect. Thank you.
I don't know.
Now, compassion is born and will drive you, instead of running, you might even take a risk of getting hurt, won't you? To go in and help. Wow, you're going to help instead of run? That's a miracle. Right.
Or
Forgiveness follows. Now that's the forgiveness that says, before I was ready, my skin was crawling to run because this dog was going to bite me and hurt me. And you know dogs do that. When they growl, then they bite. So you were warned. But I had a little miracle. I had a shift in perception about what was happening. I had compassion. My heart is awoken now. Same circumstance. Perfect. So forgiveness is the release that the dog was going to hurt you. And even though you may get bit on doing that trap, you get close enough to undo that trap, that's within teeth range. You still get hurt. But this is not going to be a wound you're going to be worried about.
You might get help.
You want to be worth it, right? Because you want to undo this wrong. You want to get some love. This dog is so far from love and so far from being safe. It's absolutely panicking. I want you out of pain. I want to get this dog out of pain. It might cost me something to do it. I might get bit, but I'm not one more minute am I going to watch this animal struggle. And go fix it. Ouch! Oh, and the dog runs off. But you know what? Are you going to be angry at the dog now? You got bit. You were worried about getting bit 15 minutes ago, so you wanted to run because you might get bit. Now you got bit, and it's different.
It doesn't hurt that way.
Okay? It doesn't hurt that way. Thank you.
You're coming with this feeling of compassion and love.
Very good.
Not fear.
There's no judgment now. There's no condemnation of the dog, even though you got bit. You would have get bit in both circumstances. One, you would have condemned the dog and said somebody should put that dog down. Dogs shouldn't bite humans. And now,
Don't even need to forgive it.
you don't even need to forgive the dog.
Oh, wow. Going beyond forgiveness.
This
Don't
is
need
key.
a miracle.
This is key. You know this
is
one,
a
Wendy.
miracle.
You know this one.
Well, don't need a miracle because nothing happened. No harm was done.
No, wait.
Right.
No, wait.
That is the
Yeah,
miracle.
that is
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, she meant to say you don't need forgiveness.
Right.
I know
You
that.
need the miracle.
Yeah.
But what you meant to say is, because I know you well enough,
Yeah, you're right.
forgiveness, when forgiveness happens automatically, this is what this book is talking about. In other words, you don't try to forgive. If you're trying to forgive, I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and go look for the miracle. Go look for the shift in perception that will make forgiveness unnecessary. The release will already have occurred. When you understand the dog was panicking and you finally let it loose and the teeth were swinging around and it ran off, nursing its wounds. That wasn't personal. It's scared.
It wanted peace just like we want.
Forgiveness, you didn't even need to forgive. That's exactly what the forgiveness is. Yours is
That's a good
true forgiveness. It happens instantly and it's fully justified. Now, without the miracle, without seeing that trap, and you got bit, that damn dog bit me. I was just walking through the park, minding my own business. Bang! I'm going to go call animal control.
They'll punish me.
They'll punish him.
They'll lock him up.
And he deserves punishment. He should be put down.
Absolutely.
He should be put down. Shouldn't he be killed?
Probably.
He bit you? You could bit some kid may come along and kill the kid who's smaller than you. You could at least take that wound. That dog should be killed right away. It's the right thing to do.
And the same thing happened. It's just how you saw it different.
Yeah, so that's condemnation and punishment. See that now, now somebody says, look, Marion, all animals are made by God. They're innocent beings, and I think you should forgive that dog. But he practically killed me and would have killed some kid. But. Marion, come on now. She's going to try. She loves dogs. Love animals? Do you love animals?
I do.
Oh, I
Why would you want to condemn an animal?
But the thorn stays inside of you.
It's hard.
And you try to deny
Right.
and believe, if you really know that harm, if you really think and believe that harm was done, and then
Yes.
you try to forget it, you're really denying your feelings, and
Yes.
the pain still.
And dare I say, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. When you say,
That's why he said to me.
when you say that you deserve punishment, but I'm not going to punish you, and I'm going to forgive you, there's a lie in there. There's an attack and there's a lie. God, you
And you wonder why you're not releasing.
I'm not forgiving you.
Think you forgave.
I'm just not punishing you. I am not forgiving you. And I'm not forgetting either.
Where's all this stuff coming from?
Yes? Where is it coming from, Dick?
Coming from our thinking.
Yes?
Okay, it's coming from the ego's ploy
Yes?
to keep us roused and upset. And
It's coming from the ego's belief
yeah.
that if I fix out there, I'll be happier in here.
It's not nothing to do with it.
If I can condemn
That's all
and
about
punish correctly, properly, I'll kill all the bad dogs, and I'll make all. I'll put welcome all the good ones. House all the good ones. Put all the terrible ones, the people in jail where they belong, and then life will be just wonderful.
And I'll be protected and safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's a lot of work. It's
I'm
infinite
just-
amount of work.
I'm just astounded at
And then you're a victim to the whole world.
Yeah.
at the ideas that are being pulled out of the minds and the people in this room.
Isn't that how it works?
I mean, it's I'm just sitting here in astonishment because my life is not like what you're talking about at all.
Your life is not like that?
No.
You don't condemn anything?
Oh, I'm not saying I don't judge and condemn. I
Okay.
do.
No biting dogs.
Oh, you don't have the dogs in the park?
I don't have a dog, no.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well. All right.
How about a person that listens?
I got a lot more analogies than just that. You know I'm good for
My
that.
first word I ever sounded was the name of my dog, Chip.
Yeah.
My twin brother, within a minute, did the same thing. So,
All right, so
we are really...
all right. You don't want to map to the hurt. You really love dogs, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Turn to page 349 in the text.
Uh-oh. 349 sounds familiar.
Well, it should. We were on it last week. But you can forget it soon because we're going to turn the page tonight.
So we're all dishing out
We're going to do
the
what?
guilt
We're
that
going to
we
the
believe.
17th?
We're all dishing out guilt.
That's right.
Projecting
Yep.
guilt and dishing it
Yep.
out by not forgiving.
Course of Miracles says you keep dishing out guilt, you're going to be surrounded by guilty and harmful.
Because
And you should also deserve and get guilt when you make a mistake
so
that's
I'm
seen as
defining it for
unforgivable.
myself.
Yes,
when
you
I'm
are.
making the other person really sinful.
Yes.
Then when I make a mistake,
Yes.
guess what? I'm living by my rules.
Yep.
And I'm dying by my rules.
That's
When
right.
I say this is living, dying by the sword.
You got it.
Because I wrote those rules.
Sure.
That's right.
And that means it's going to be the same for me. Then I'm going to have to swallow all that guilt because that's how I see it.
That's correct. Even if
We're
you're not
training
caught.
ourselves how to not have peace.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the kind of mind training you don't
Yeah.
want. We're here to undo
By
that.
practicing it on others.
Yes.
We're training ourselves
Training.
to be suffering.
Training. Yep. Even if the other person doesn't catch you, you know what you did.
Because I know how bad it is when you
You
do it.
deserve it. Or they say, they do catch you, and they say, oh, I don't care about that. Well, you
Yeah.
should. I
Watch
don't
out.
know. I know that you say it doesn't bother you, but
But it's going to bother you.
I don't like you did that to me.
Next life.
You're right.
You'll get yours.
You'll get yours. Karma, right? Oh, God, I'm going to have to pay for this later. Yeah. You bet. That's where this leads. You're training yourself on guilt. That's what Course in Miracles says. The bottom of it
There's only
all.
one of us, right?
The bottom of it all, that the root to the discomfort and the root of separation, where does it all come from? Where does it spring from? What holds the pain of the world? What holds karma as a law that has to be respected? Guilt. Guilt is from whence it all comes. Guilt is the very reason love is excluded. It's the original sin. Yes, the original sin, the original myth. Yeah. Yes. Okay, now, turn to page 349. And, Micheline, would you read for us paragraph 9?
Paragraph 9.
This is chapter 16, section 7. It's called The End of Illusions. And we're reading paragraph 9.
It's at the bottom of the page.
It is, yes.
Okay. There is nothing you can hold against reality. All that must be forgiven are the illusions you have held against your brothers. Their reality has no past, and only illusions can be forgiven. God holds nothing against anyone, for he is incapable of illusions of any kind. Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions by forgiving them for the illusions you perceive in them. Thus will you learn that you have been forgiven, for it is you who offered them illusions. In the holy instant, this is done for you in time, to bring you the true condition of heaven.
What a beautiful paragraph on forgiveness. Claudia, would you read that again for us, just because we're going to study that a little bit.
There's nothing you can hold against reality. All that must be forgiven are the illusions you have held against your brothers. Their reality has no past, and only illusions can be forgiven. God holds nothing against anyone, for he is incapable of illusions of any kind. Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions by forgiving them for their illusions you perceive in them. Thus will you learn that you have been forgiven, for it is you who offered them illusions. In the holy instant, this is done for you in time, to bring you the true condition of heaven.
Beautiful. Well, there it is. There it is. It's so well said. Okay, so first statement, first sentence says, there is nothing you can hold against reality, meaning reality is stronger than anything you could possibly put up. Truth survives, truth is, and it wins every time. You can actually hold. Yeah? Huh? Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, this is good news. This is very, very good news. That's right. That's right. Yes. And as we read 100 pages ago, your job now, as a Course in Miracles student, aiming to be a teacher of God even, but at least one who would be free, is to now deny the denial of truth.
This was my favorite.
That's your job.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's typical Course in Miracles. Really stop and make you think. What did you say? What? Deny the what? What? But yeah, that's it. Deny the denial of truth.
Yeah.
Deny the denial. The denial of truth is all this guilt, false forgiveness, attack, separation, seeing things separate, victim, happened to me from the outside. That's the denial of truth. It all comes from your choices and your mind. You give everything you see, all the meaning it has for you. Nobody else went in there and said, this is how it is. No, you picked it up and kept it, and defined it and decided, and you judge everything by it, by your past that has been informed you. You've taken this truth, and now you've applied it to everything. I used to say, the past made me what I am today. Course says, that's right. Poor you, sucker. And you will suffer by that. I had to have that all undone. Yeah, all through high school, that was like, I was like, has so much sense that your past is rich and it made you what you are, and that's what I am. My question was, what am I? I am my past.
I'm on my path.
Yeah, and you're stuck with it.
Oh, that's
Huge.
Shucks. Yep.
that's the prison bars.
What if you're not? What if you're free right here and now, and you can correct right out of your past and actually be what you want to be if you find a better way? You follow Wendy around, you see some laughing going on. And she smiles, lights up a room. I like that. I'd like to smile a little more. I really like how it looks on her, and it makes me feel. I want to make other people feel like Wendy makes them feel when she smiles. Lights up the room. It's good. But my past says I don't smile. I can't. Bullshit. Right? That's the Course says, no, you choose right now. The Course says, when you forget your past, you are reborn.
Yeah.
Fresh. Now, let's just go from here forward. Oh, good. That's good news.
That's also when you're quiet, you're at peace. Sensitive.
That's right. Now, instantly and completely. Okay. So there's nothing you can hold against reality. Now, get sentence 2. All that must be forgiven are illusions that you have held against your brothers.
Isn't that something? Boy, that is so right on, you know?
Now, another way to look at forgiveness is this word, release. Okay, let's read it again. We're using that word. All that must be released are illusions that you have held against your brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And illusions are nothing. They have to be maintained by your thoughts in order to exist. So all you have to do is let go of nothing. Stop seeing them. Because I don't know. There's some pretty real consequences here, Andrew. All this sounds nice.
Good.
But when you get into the real world, there's money, there is time, there's blood even.
Making it real again.
You see, but it is real under the rules of the world. The only thing we're talking about here is the world of your mind. Yes, the world's out there. There's money, there's blood, there's time, there's my stuff, and there's your stuff. I got stuff. I'd rather you didn't take it. George Carlin, he says, look, my shit is stuff. Your stuff is shit.
That's funny.
Because that whole stuff routine about you buy storage to keep your stuff in, and then
That's good.
He's kind of, that's right though. I'm not saying you throw all that out. The book is not working there. The book is working in your mind. How can you be peaceful and sleep after dealing with your stuff and somebody else's stuff? You can still do. Then you have to give everything up, give all your stuff away, and give all your. That's not what we're talking about. Because you could do that and be very charitable and go to a monastery and be absolutely miserable and pissed off at the world. God, how could this be the best thing to do? Instead of watching my 42-inch TV during the Super Bowl week, I'm sitting here meditating with a rice bowl in the cold. How is this good?
You don't have it in your mind. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought about that, John.
Well, yeah. And that's because right where you are, the miracle was not respected. There was no miracle. There was just, I'm going to meditate until I get it. Force myself into it. But it's not about out there. It's not about the world. Turn to, keep your finger on this page, okay? Turn to page 440. 445.
Yeah.
And this is the introduction. Yeah, we'll just read the introduction here to this page. And then, John, you want to read that for us? Just read the whole first paragraph.
Okay. Projection, excuse me, makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As a man thinketh, so does he perceive. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Perception is a result and not a cause, and that is why order of difficulty in miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where there is no meaning, there is chaos.
Thank you.
Boy, does that sound right on?
Would you read it for us then?
Huh?
Dick, you belt it out for us. Give us a Dick Duvall
read it through your
version of that paragraph. Same one, just so John can hear it.
You want me to read through it again?
Would you please?
No.
He reads what you
Projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it. Nothing more than that. But, though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you, it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As a man thinketh, so does he perceive. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind without the world.
About the world.
About the world, sorry. Perception is a result and not a cause. And that is why order of difficulty in miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where there is no meaning, there's chaos.
Wow, he really reads that with his own truth and conviction. It's so like we really get the meaning.
And where there is no meaning, there's chaos.
That, in my experience, that is right on the money. Right.
Yeah.
Sentence 1, projection makes perception.
And it says there's nowhere to difficult.
You see it through what you see. So how you see it is how you see it. We've been saying that this year. How you see it is how you see it.
Yes.
People argue perception all the time.
Yes. And they defend it, and they attack other people's perception, and they defend their own. It's a war. It's a battle.
Chaos.
Let me just...
Ego.
So you see how this relates to forgiveness?
Sure.
It shows you where you are. How you think is exactly
Where you are.
where you are. Course says, do you want to know what you believe? Open your eyes and look around.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty busted,
Pretty good.
yeah. Pretty busted, pretty much busted. Yeah. Yeah. And if you like it, stay with it. And then if you don't like it, this says, don't try to change the world.
Oh no, change your thoughts.
Change your thoughts
That's right.
about the
That's
world.
right.
I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah, beautiful. Well said, Olchi. Well said. You want to read it one more time for us, Olchi? Read that paragraph for us. Same one. Page 445. It's so rich, this paragraph. It's Course in Miracles. All in one paragraph.
Projection makes perception.
world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As a man thinketh, so does he perceive. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Perception is a result, not a cause. And that is why order of difficulty in miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where is no meaning, there is chaos.
Boy, it just says it all. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right, now please flip back to page 349. Okay. There is nothing you hold against reality. All that must be forgiven are the illusions you have held against your brothers. Their reality, your brother's reality, has no past, and only illusions can be forgiven. Only the stuff that you've been making up and holding on to and projecting can be forgiven. Does that sentence that make sense? Only illusions can be forgiven?
Mm-hmm.
If it's true, it can't be forgiven. Why? Somebody tell me why.
Reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is release. And what sentence 1 in this paragraph? There's nothing you can hold against reality. Reality always wins. Because it's true.
Just is.
It is. It is. And I hope reality is something good because it's not changeable. So I hope we learn that. I hope somewhere in this book it describes how reality is good. We'll get there. But it ain't changing.
Nobody be showing up to class anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, my fingers are crossed, right? Yeah.
We would be coming
Whatever
to
it
class
is.
if there wasn't any.
Yeah. There's some hope.
Maybe we wouldn't show up because it's so good.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. God holds nothing against anyone, for he's incapable of illusions of any kind. Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions. Now track with that. Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions. The prison that Michaeline was talking about, this is our own illusions, our own perceptions. Where we see ourselves stuck is where we see ourselves stuck. If you're in pain, if you're feeling unhappy, unfairly treated, something at work is not going the way it should, it's because you think something at work is not going as it should. That's why you feel that way. Regardless of the facts.
My ego knows better.
Yeah, you got another idea how it should be.
Right.
You've been shitting all over yourself. Every day you go in there and shit on yourself for 8 hours. Not anymore. But it must be a better way. There is a better way. Work hasn't changed. They're still doing what they do. But somehow there's not so much attack and defense going on. It's a little more comfortable. Well, you sure see things differently. And you respond to them differently. That's what I meant to mention a moment ago. We talked about micro-expressions a few weeks ago. You can't lie. You can say the words differently, but your body will speak them absolutely true. And other people, they see that you're trying, so they're not going to jump on you, but they know how you really feel. All right? So that's why things change. The world really does change around you because you've changed. You're no longer defending and saying, no, it's okay, Olchi. That's fine that you took my coffee. And that you took my lunch instead of yours, again, out of the refrigerator, even though my name was on it. That's okay. I'm okay. I know you were hungry. I forgive you. Bitch. But somewhere it's... You can't hide it. You may be...
last week there's no private thoughts.
Nobody's that great. It's right. There's no private thoughts. Nobody's that good of an actor. Oh, the best actors in Hollywood, they are getting close. That's why they make some good actors.
That's right.
You see them on screen and you believe it. You know why? It's because your mind is working so fast, picking up the little winks and all the micro expressions. That's what makes a good actor. He's like, oh, I felt that. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's why this really works. Doing these workbook lessons will change your life, indeed. But I'll tell you, it all starts where you are, which is let me have a miracle first. And now you change your mind about the world. Don't go change the world. Your ego's all over that. And it will do it with blood and tears and force. Half of it will stick, the other half won't, and the side that stick will eventually come around and unstick itself.
It's temporary.
That's changing the world. It's tough. It's really hard. There's a book. You can read books on how to change the world. There's lots of ideas. It's just harder than this. More complex. You got to get cooperation from the outside. I don't know. It's very complex.
Has it ever worked? Never.
No, never worked. It sticks. Yeah. All right, now.
Always something. You may fix maybe something. There's always something.
That's right. It really does seem like you make a difference. Yep, it really does. Yep. How long does it last? Yeah. So this approach is change your mind, and then now you're more capable of handling everything that comes your way. You're no longer lying. When you say to somebody, it's okay. Wow, it really is okay.
They know what it means. It's really
They don't need defense. They don't need to feel guilty about taking your lunch. They're like, oh, yeah.
Taking your lunch.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's
Also,
my
if you get so sick of being miserable, you just finally saying, forget it.
Yes.
Just forgive everybody.
Yes. Now, this is honest.
Sick.
I'll tell you. You can't hide from that. When you're so sick of being miserable,
Exactly.
you're so tired, you can't even complain one more
You
time.
go back into, of course, in the post-work group.
Yeah. I needed a better way. Yeah. But you know what else happens is you get old, okay? Very old even. And it happens. And it's not the healthiest way to do things. But you've all heard it. You've seen it in movies. Wendy brought in a great example. You fight this world long enough, eventually you get so sick and tired of fighting. You're just tired. You know what you do? You just let it go for a day. I'm not going to correct you. You know what? You sleep better that night. And maybe I didn't tell you to clean up your mess because I was just so tired of telling you every time you spill. You went off, made your mess, food all over the table, and then you went off and watched TV. When I wasn't looking, you came back and cleaned it. I don't know exactly where, but you did. And I didn't have to tell you. And God, I just feel I didn't have to do it this time.
Oh, I cleaned it up. It was good for me.
Or maybe I did and life is better.
I hope.
I just let it build up for 3 days. Yeah, then I cleaned it up. After 3, it was a third of the work. I let it build up 3 days. Instead of fighting it every single day, you make your messes. I just do it all at once at Friday. So much better. Okay, that you get so tired of being miserable that you decided to be less miserable for. All right, so that's what the phrase, it is what it is, comes
I was
from.
wondering where you're going with that.
That's what the phrase of the older person, I never heard a young kid say it is what it is. I never heard a 6-year-old say, oh, it is what it is. It's way too wise. It's way.
They say whatever.
They say, well, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That feels so good that you remember those little details that are so significant.
Well, yeah. I remember the dog in the trap, too. I think that's really great. Yeah. And they say, it, what?
That's what I like it just is.
This is.
Just is.
That's, yes.
That's what I say.
That's the whole statement.
Just is.
But that's less judgment.
No
It is.
explanations of
It
anything.
is.
It just is.
Insert your unspoken judgment, what it is. And you're stuck with it. But just is.
Just is just.
Much cleaner. Much cleaner.
Very clear.
Yeah. Much cleaner. But it comes from this healthy perspective. What the paragraph we just read calls vision. Oh, it is. Exactly how it is. And then the more we understand, and then one of Karen's vectors was, we're doing it to ourselves. How could that be true? Well, you work on that a bit, and the book will help you. How could that possibly be true that I gave myself cancer? God, this is a bunch of bullshit. How could that be
He
true?
says that really well. His voice goes high.
What kind of beep and beep is this stuff? What are they smoking? But you can get there. And it's huge freedom when you do. Because now you can understand, you can reconcile all the, quote, evils and terrible things of the world. Aren't quite as bad as you think. In fact, it's a wonderful expression of freedom. As dirty and as ugly as it appears to be. This is what vision will afford you. That's what... Yes. Yep, yep. Okay, so let's look further into this. So now it says, release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions. You see people struggle with their own guilt. They're just so, they won't forgive themselves. They're so beating themselves up for not doing it right. They should have done it better. Shoulda. Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions by forgiving them for the illusions you perceive in them. Oh, back to me. For a minute there I thought they had the problem.
The ego was winning for a second.
It was. They were all screwed up in their head.
I thought it was winning for a
Just
second.
don't finish it.
Yeah.
Just don't finish that sentence.
Didn't they have the problem for their... No. Seek not to change your world, but change your mind about the world. This is the key to salvation. It's the only way you can get out of being a victim. It's the only way you're going to find happiness, though all around you is failing.
Victim sucks.
Victim sucks. Yeah.
And ultimately, if you put it all on your hands, that's a good thing.
Yes.
You can just say, okay, I'm responsible for everything. I'm good. I can decide.
Yeah,
If I want to suffer or...
yeah. That's right.
That's good.
And then I will.
And you can't be a victim.
And if I'm suffering, I did a good suffering today. I beat myself up so badly.
Boy. I did a good
Boy, I can really crush myself. Oh, you should see how nobody's good as me. I can make myself feel like a little insignificant, not worthwhile scum of the earth that nobody could love. I could do that. Got that one nailed.
So then when you...
That's right. You take responsibility that way. You bet. And then, yeah.
So then, if you're willing to not be right for your ego and you go to that forgiveness place, then you could start looking at everything as love or a call for love. Like
Yes.
whatever that person did for you,
Yeah.
to you or me, it's a call for love, meaning, you know, they really want it. Everybody wants love, to get love, but they did it in a way that maybe didn't serve well, or they didn't do it, they didn't know how to do it.
Yes.
Or maybe they did it in a way that violated one of the laws.
Yeah. And so that
But
releases,
look at it with compassion.
and you release them from the slavery of their illusions by releasing
Guilt.
your...
Because you're not holding the guilt against them.
Right.
Because you could, if you feel compassion toward them, because you know the truth.
Yes.
That it was really either it's love or a call for love. So anything that feels like it hurts is a
Yes.
call for love.
Yes. Yes.
And you're at one with that person.
Then you could say, you know, that
In
could
truth.
be me.
Mm-hmm.
That is me.
Yeah. Would you do this to yourself?
Yeah.
Would you condemn yourself
Yeah,
for having made this mistake that you think they made?
good.
No, it's a mistake. See, a mistake means it wasn't intentional. They didn't want that outcome, even though they got
They
it.
didn't know how to do it.
And now they won't forgive themselves for getting it, and they should have done differently. But they did exactly what they did, see.
And that was the best they could do.
Best they could do at the
with what
time.
they had.
That's right. So they're innocent. And we don't, now, that was then, this is now? let's just forget the past. And now let's answer a call for love with love.
So really freeing ourselves.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to forgive you, which means I'm going to let go in my own head. Forgiveness, of Course in Miracles, is not done out there. You don't say it. You don't say anything. Forgiveness in the dictionary, you say it out loud and make sure you have a witness, because you're going to look good. You look good saying it.
You have a witness.
That's okay, John. I'm not going to punish you for messing me up like you did. No, it's okay. I forgive you, brother, for hurting me like
But
you
just
did.
Wait till he does.
Oh,
something to you.
is that really? Are you going to say thank you? Well, thanks,
That's heavy.
Andrew. I'm sorry. Hey, you don't have to be sorry for hurting me like that? For being so unfair to me like you were yesterday? You don't have to be sorry because I forgive you, see? You don't have to even be sorry.
Right.
What am I saying behind that? Right? Wow, that's wow, that's so ugly, isn't
As
it?
soon as they know that you feel that way.
Not if we let it. Not if we let it. Okay.
And ultimately, you're forgiving yourself, and then the dream vanishes. You're just making the dream up.
That's right.
Ultimately, that's
Back to me.
all that's going to happen anyway. You're just forgiving yourself, ultimately.
What's the next sentence?
Letting everything go.
Read for us the next sentence. Read for us sentence 6. Well, read us 5 and then 6.
Right.
Release your brothers
Yeah,
from the
well,
slavery of their
Conscious,
illusions
though.
by forgiving
Here, hold on a second. We have 2 meetings going on here. Go ahead. You can tell her what you were saying.
No, I just said that the conscience, she was talking about guilt and stuff, and somebody, even though they keep defending against you or whatever, that I was just saying that sooner or later the conscience is going to get the better part of them, you know.
Yes. Very expensive.
Whether I can make them admit they're guilty so I can almost forgive them.
Yes. Yes, you got it. You're on it. You're on it, John. That's it.
You're laughing about it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
a couple more beers.
Yeah.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, that's right. I'll forgive him after I've had 2 or 3 beers, and then, yeah. Okay, now, so Karen's read for sentence 5 and 6.
Release your brothers from the slavery of their illusions by forgiving them for the illusions you perceive in them. Thus will you learn that you have been forgiven. For it is you who offered them illusions.
That's what we were saying earlier.
Exactly. You will release the judgments and the harm and the guilt that you perceive in their actions.
Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's so.
It also doesn't mean, right, that they're going to suddenly be free.
Right. Because it's not about them.
But at least there's one person who's not shaking their finger and condemning with all the micro expressions. You're going to be better off. You're not so bothered. Olchi keeps coming to me now. Every day she comes and apologizes for taking my lunch. No, Olchi, really. No, it's okay. How am I going to communicate this to this girl? She's just so downtrodden. You know why? Because she really didn't want to do it. And if I took her lunch, it would be really bad. It'd be really bad. So the fact she took mine, she's unforgivable. Andrew, I never take lunches. Lunches are, that's your personal possession. You brought it in for a reason. You made it at home. It's home cooked. It's not this terrible stuff you get on the roach coach outside. No, lunches are really private, and they shouldn't be taken by other people. And I took yours. I can't believe I did it. I'm so sorry. How am I going to tell her that it's okay? How am I going to tell her?
You don't. You don't.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Get her a book. Get her the Course in Miracles and say, read this, and then apologize in about a year. And I want you to mean it then. Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah. Some motivation to read
That's
this.
because she senses that you never really forgave her, that you
Yep.
condemned her but you know, it sounds,
Yep.
you use the words, but not
That's right.
the intention.
Yeah, yes, sir. Turns out, you know, to be the teacher of God, we talk about the manual for teachers in the end of the book, which anybody can read at any time. The manual for teachers doesn't mean it's only for, you are, if you're interested in this book, it has questions and answers and terms, and you should absolutely, it's a short little 100 pages, you should definitely pick up those terms. It'll help you understand the book. But it talks about these subtleties of letting go of the valueless. It's one of the things that you'll do. And that she took my lunch. You know, it's just not really, I'd rather be free. I'd rather be happy than right that you shouldn't have taken my lunch. It just doesn't work for me. Ulchi, you know, that the lunch, hanging on to a lunch, it just doesn't work for me. It's just a really tough way to live. I don't know. You know, lunches go. It's a mistake. It's no problem.
It's like, give me $100. It's even.
$100? Yeah. Lunch is about $6. If you give me $100,
Yeah, just take me a bittersweet for dinner.
I'd be really happy. You could take all my lunches at that rate. That's good. But you bet. These subtleties will, you bet. The honesty will show up as we start to clarify our thinking and not be holding the grudges and valuing the value less and being tolerant and being defending. That's right. Defenseless. Yeah. Open-minded. Actually having faith in the bigger picture. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All that now the communications are natural. Now you see people at work seem to be behaving differently. I'm not sure exactly why. Pretty sure I know why. You've changed.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
the world.
see it, but I
Yeah.
feel it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel it, but I don't like go around thinking, okay, I'm thinking about how I'm changing what I'm saying,
Yes.
what I'm doing and how I'm doing, because my focus isn't there.
Yes. It would be much harder if you did. It'd be harder if you were practicing in the mirror the right expression that looks like it's helpful.
I could tell when even you talked about it that you shifted, because before when you were talking about it, it was really fearful,
I had a
painful.
lot.
And here you're just talking about it. It's less personal. It's like you're not. Yeah.
Right, it's not in it. I'm not in it.
You're
it's
observing
not
it
in
more
me.
than you're
Right.
being hurt and victimized by it. I could tell when you talk about it that you shifted.
Thank you.
So now let's read. When do you want to read for us the last sentence of this wonderful paragraph?
In the holy instant, was that it?
Yep.
This is done for you in time to bring you the true condition of heaven.
So what happens when you have the miracle? Then forgiveness occurs. So the miracle is a shift in perception. This person is really calling for love. I don't need to even attack for a mistake. So, and they're innocent. I don't have to forgive. This is they're really doing the best they can. What follows that is the third of the trio. The miracle, shift in perception. Forgiveness is the release. Nothing actually. I'm not really hurt. And she took my lunch. I'm not really hurt.
Yeah.
The holy instant occurs. The holy instant is this recognition. It is this moment out of time of release, of peace, and of understanding.
You feel compassion.
Yes, that there is no
What's the
loss.
difference between a holy instant and a miracle?
Miracle is a shift in perception. It's a new perception. Old perception was material, competition, separation, physical. The new perception is now inclusive, spiritual, not separated, part of what is. It is. And it does not cost. Before, everything costs. There's no competition. So the miracle is that shift in perception now, where you see things, you see what comes, what they share. The miracle sees what everything shares. It's just one of 100 ways to say it. But that changes everything.
It's kind of like the in-breath, and then the holy instant is the out-breath.
Yeah. Yeah. A little work to pull the air in.
After it, but
That's good. That's good. Because
I get it.
yeah, release. That's not in that moment of simplicity, stillness, peace that naturally comes because there has been a correction. It's another way of looking at a miracle, is a correction.
So they go together?
Absolutely. They absolutely do.
Oh,
You
it's
get
just
a-
the result of the
Yes?
miracle.
It's the experience of the miracle, the completion of the miracle.
It's like the fruit of it. It's the fruit.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
the fruit of it.
Yep. Because the miracle occurs, a shift in perception. I like that. It's a little bit of work. Pull in the breath. You really do have to participate.
That's nice.
Or at least let it happen. Let your mind be changed. Because it's a change, folks. It's a change. The forgiveness happens, but it happens automatically. And then that's the release. You got to work to pull the air in, but you don't have to work to let it go. Just stop. Just release the muscles. Air flows out. Very good. The holy instant is now touching what has always been true. This is the essence of the reward of trust. You're trusting what's true. Wonderful. Read this sentence again now. It says, in this the holy instant, well, this is done for you in time. And this is where you release your brother from illusions that they hold.
That's something we can hold on to again.
Yeah, because you actually have particular illusions that you've been holding. And so what you're doing is through the miracle and forgiveness and the holy instant, that release is done for you. You're not smart enough to do this.
Yeah.
The ego has books and techniques. No, we're just talking about a release here. We're talking about an undoing of what you believed and not knowing what comes in its place.
The result of that.
The not knowing is very important. The one who knows is the one that made up the problem and judged it to be a problem.
Not knowing.
So you have to be willing to this is where the holy, that's done for you. This is
Tell
your,
me about the not knowing.
It's amazing.
yes?
Because I just had a conversation about the unknowing, the not knowing, and how some people are fearful of not knowing.
Yes, yes.
And that it's really okay. And it was my job to encourage my staff to be okay with not knowing.
Yes.
But it was professional. It was related to their jobs because so much is changing.
Yes.
Feel it. Carrying
Totally
over.
connected.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. How is the not
So you
knowing?
could be in a new territory of not knowing, and that's just being still in that.
There is a
Not trying to tell
passage.
your mind, oh, then what's next and what's next. It says a peaceful mind does not plan.
Yes. Because planning comes from knowing. There's a passage from knowing the wrong thing, okay, to knowing, there's a passage that occurs when you go from knowing the wrong thing, knowing it wrongly, to knowing it rightly. You pass through the middle of it's a red, the ball is red and yellow. It's red and I'm telling you, I'm looking at the beach ball. I see red on the left. I see yellow on the right. I know it is. I can see it. My own two eyes. I know colors. And Olchi over there is on the other side of the beach ball. She says, no, it's red and green. I'm looking at the beach ball. And I know colors. And I see red and green. Olchi, I'm looking at the same, right? Forever. But for me to go from being sure that I'm right to understanding the ball has three colors and you can only see two at a time.
Great.
Turns out she's right and I'm right.
But you're willing to even consider that.
That's right.
You're not holding on
This
to
is
being
a,
right.
there has to be a moment of not knowing in
Oh,
order
okay.
for the truth, which was going to be different than the false, to arrive and have a place to be. So we need to clear some space on the chalkboard to have the truth be written. And then you can recognize it as true because it works universally. There's a passage there. And that's the not knowing. It's I do not know.
That's where it comes in.
That's what I do not know.
That's
Yes.
the passage.
It's also what we call in the dark night of the soul.
That's the dark night.
The dark night of the soul is a welcoming, willfully, that I do not know.
That's right.
A very important passage and a little scary. Until
It was scary until.
it had to do something. That's right. And that there was some modicum of trust somewhere says, I know there's a better way, I just don't know.
I need to remember it.
Yes. And so I'm willing to pass this way and abandon the old because I'm tired of it.
That's when you can walk across that bridge because you're letting go of what you thought was the past.
Yes?
Where you were standing, you're letting go of what you thought was the past, what was real,
Very good.
and you're opening up to the possibility of I don't know, so you
Yes.
can move in that direction.
That's right.
Because you're letting go of that past thought.
Yet the past is no longer suitable. I've decided no longer to work with my past thoughts. They aren't good enough. I need something else. I know there's a better way because Karen seems to be able to deal with situations better than I can. I don't know what she's got, but
She's got it all right.
I just, somehow there's a better. Dalai Lama, that guy seems to be just so cool as a cucumber. I'm going to go read his books. I'm going to do, but that
Follow
means
him around the world.
I'm going to follow him around the world. Do you do that?
My God.
Yeah,
That's what people
but
do,
that
right?
means,
I love the way you said that.
But
It's like
if you're gonna make
when
that
you love a rock
passage-
star, I'm going to touch him.
that means you're going to give up
Oh, really?
your other practice, which was every day for an hour watching Oprah Winfrey.
No, Dr. Phil.
Was Dr. Phil? Yeah, he's got great ideas. They seem to have it all put together, but it's just ain't working for you. So now you're going to pack it up and go follow. You bet.
Well, listen
But
to
there
what
is
he
an
says.
unknowing. If you follow Dalai Lama, you know you're going to get anything? I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to try. There is a gap there. And when we're doing it from the material trust to the spiritual, that's the dark night of the soul. I know the material's failing me, but I don't quite know God is real. I can't put my finger on God. But I'm going to try. There's a big release that has to occur there.
Great.
Yeah. And the I do not know really opens up.
Doesn't it? It's a required passage.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of freedom in that. I do not know.
And when you say it and you recognize it's true, it's the first time you didn't lie to yourself. It's so powerful to speak the truth.
Yeah.
I do not know.
Well, you got a tall woman in this group.
True enough.
How about me?
Yeah.
Tall, you're tall.
We can't possibly be short men. There must be tall women here.
That's a change in thinking, right?
Yeah, there we go. We're shifting perception.
The truth is the
You
truth.
getting this?
Oh, that's funny. That's the other way of seeing
Take a deep breath.
it.
How could I do not know be important to the holy instant? How important might it be to release the old way of thinking so that the truth can just show itself? Yeah. The Course told us tonight, give up your illusions about others and thereby release them from the slavery of their illusions. It's a circle that affects you personally and immediately. Don't know what it does for them for sure, but I'll guarantee you will know. You will feel a release with your own mind that you too could be forgiven. The Course told us tonight, and it's very important, what you're forgiving are illusions that you've made up from your past, and you've been maintaining it. Like when you release your breath, let's just let it go. Thank you, thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. This was a beautiful meeting.
Really
Very
good.
nice.
Yeah, thanks for being that poor dog in
It was really good. It was great.
It's fun. I like that.
Did that, I'll do a number
See
on
it
your,
and understand it.
on the thing that you were thinking about. Some tape I was thinking.
It's great.
Taking all this time now. It's funny. I mean,